everybody out there. My name is Carissa. I'm a singer, I'm an actress, I'm a voiceover artist, and I'm here today to tell you about how to deal with singer health. How do we keep a healthy voice? A lot of times I'll have my students come to me and ask how they combat things like common colds or allergies, and do they sing through it, or do they go on vocal rest? And there's a lot of questions that come up when that happens. I want to start this video by saying I am not a medical professional, and I cannot give you medical advice, and I don't want you to take this advice and feel like I am a professional in this field. I am a professional in the field of singing and using your body as an instrument. And so that is where I am coming from. And I'm coming from my experience, my knowledge, and from the stuff that my vocal coaches and teachers taught me over the years. First of all, I'd like to talk about allergies. Allergies are something that are really hard to avoid, and allergies happen when you are around lots of bloomin' things. So for the students that I teach in Central Texas in the United States, it's very difficult to get away from the idea that we would have allergies all the time. Like, we're gonna have them. It's gonna happen, and we're gonna have to make sure that we have certain guardrails or certain things to help us when the seasons change. I decided to make this video during the fall because lots of sicknesses go around, but also allergies happen with the turning of the season. So, how do we make sure that we have everything we need as a singer when we are going through periods where allergies are really bugging us or frustrating us? So what I do, and this is a trick that I've been told ever since I was in high school, what I do is I will drink hot water, lemon, and honey. But the honey needs to be local to where you are. So if I go to my local grocery store, H-E-B, I will go and get a honey that is like a Texas wildflower honey, something that is used from the pollen of the place that you are living. The idea is that you are drinking or ingesting the very thing that is making you have allergies. A lot of times that actually makes my allergies a lot better. And then of course you put it in a cup with hot water, lemon, and honey. Why do we do that? Hot water is great because it's kind of just like steaming everything and like putting a spa on your vocal mechanism, which is lovely. Lemon cuts out the ooey gooey stickiness of the honey, and so it kind of acts as a refresher and as a lubricator with the honey, so it goes back and forth. And of course the water is the vehicle for that. Now, can you put tea in this, and can you like make an herbal tea with it as well? Absolutely, you can use tea with this as well. If you do, I would suggest you do an herbal tea, and preferably not drink 3 or 4 or more of these cups of this remedy. If you really want to drink a lot of fluids and drink this remedy, I really highly recommend that you stay and stick to water, lemon, and honey, because you're not going to get the drying effects that might happen when tea gets involved. Caffeinated tea, not really going to help, because what it's going to do is it's actually going to dry out the vocal mechanism. Let's talk about medications with allergy. So we have lots of allergy medications out there, and they're really helpful. And of course, people are going to find allergy medications that work for them. Talk to your doctor, see which ones will work for you, yada, right? And find something that you like, right? Here is my advice when it comes to allergy medication. I highly recommend that you take an allergy medication that you can monitor the crest of. So when we use an antihistamine, very commonly we'll use antihistamines like Sudafed, things like that, right? What an antihistamine does is it has a peak of time where the vocal mechanism is dried out. The idea is that we're basically trying to make sure the mucus is just like gone so that we can actually function and we can get through our day. There's also an added little bit of like upper in it, right? So it kind of gets us through the day, gets us through the work day, gives us that extra boost of energy, and also dries out the passages so that we can breathe and talk and not be frustrated by it, right? Not have the headaches as much and stuff like that. But what comes with that as a singer is now you have taken all of the wetness out of the mechanism, out of the singing instrument, and there's still inflammation there from the mucus that you previously had. So what happens is maybe after a postnasal drip, you take a Sudafed and it's a 12-hour Sudafed. Well, guess what? Now you have a 12-hour crest and you don't really know when it's going to peak and when it's going to be super dry and when your mechanism is going to be super dry. So what that means is that if you take a Sudafed that's like a 12-hour or a Mucinex, especially Mucinex, that gets all that mucus out, if you take that in the morning and you're performing in the middle of the day or at night, you're not going to know when that dry point really is going to happen. You can time it out hour-wise, but it is hard to know how your body will metabolize it and when it will metabolize it or when it will come into effect. So my advice is you take a 4 to 6 hour antihistamine, or you take an antihistamine that is a 24-hour, because usually it's a crest that is so long that you can't see there's not a huge crest and trough. Makes sense? So something that doesn't just dry you out really, really quickly and then you have to take another one, or, dry you out and then now you're chapped and your entire mechanism is chapped, right? Now, if Mucinex is the only thing that works for you, or something that really, really dries out the vocal mechanism is something that works for you, then guess what? You have to replace that moisture with water. And so the water that you think you're drinking a lot of, you have to drink double it, because you have to replace everything that you have extracted from the instrument, right? And this is also true for the Sudafed that you would be taking as well. So anytime you're taking an antihistamine, go with a smaller window, like a 4 to 6 hour, and take that continually and monitor how you feel and how your vocal mechanism feels, or how your instrument feels. And also, please, please, please drink water. Bonus, if you drink the remedy of hot water, lemon, and honey, because that's going to be combining all of those things to rehydrate your instrument and also get it to a place where it has that Friedman flexibility that it would normally have if it did not have the allergies attacking the body, right? Now, let's talk about what happens when we have a cold. When we have a cold and when we are coughing, when we have lots of mucus that, okay, here's the difference between allergies and cold. For me, I know when I have a cold when my mucus is not clear. When your mucus is not clear, there's something else going on and there's something more complex going on. That is my experience, right? When that shift happens, that's when we get the body aches and stuff like that and our whole body feels just like out of commission, that's when we take the medication like Dayquil, NyQuil, right? Just to get us through the day. Again, same rules apply. Hydrate a ton. Make sure that you are monitoring your symptoms with something that has a shorter crest and fall, basically. When you have a cold, can you sing on a cold? Can you sing on allergies? Technically, yes. Should you do it is highly dependent on what kind of content you are having to perform later that day. If I was going to be performing something where I had to have a lot of open choral vowels and I had a very relaxed mechanism and a very circular mechanism where I'm doing a lot of ooh kind of sounds and very almost Gregorian chant and like classical stuff, low impact stuff, I guess I should say, I would probably be able to get through it with a light common cold. If I have to sing something where I'm highly pressurized and I'm doing a lot of big singing and lots of movement and lots of energy and I'm belting really, really big, it's gonna be much harder to do on a cold or allergies. It can be done. If you are a singing professional and you have to get through something like that and do it, make sure that you have vocal techniques that lighten up the sound or take some of the pressure out of what you are doing and modify. You have to do some kind of modification. Otherwise, the instrument is going to not be happy with you. And you're going to have shorter longevity, and it's just not going to feel great. Obviously, we know we still have to go to work and do what we need to do. And if that's the case for you, again, hydrate, make sure that you're monitoring your symptoms, and if it's really bad and you have to perform, steam. I love using steamers. They're super cool. So you can go to a CVS or a Walgreens, you can get a steamer for like $45, $50. It's a mechanism that you can literally just plug into the wall, put some water in it, and you put it up to your face, and it basically pushes steam into your sinuses. Again, what we're doing is kind of with the sinuses what we would be doing with the throat and the sinuses with the water, lemon, and honey treatment and remedy. But we are doing it with a machine and pushing the steam through the nasal cavity and through the mouth, right? So that's a really helpful added measure as well, and I really like that. People will also ask about Netti Pots. Should I use a Netti Pot? Sure. If you enjoy using it and you like it and you know how to clean it well enough so that you don't have the bacterial stuff or sinus infections coming up later, great, by all means. Use the techniques and tricks and tips that work for you. Do I recommend a Netti Pot for everybody? No. If you are not used to the sensation of a Netti Pot, I wouldn't do it. I would do the steamer first, and I would do the honey, lemon, and water as well. But other than that, that is all my advice when it comes to either a cold or allergies. And they're pretty similar, to be honest. But when it comes to being a singer and doing what we do, we can also take it too far. And we can get very, very neurotic about how we do certain things. Honey, lemon, and water is not going to be something that is going to dry you out over time. It's just sugar water, basically, you know? And it's hopefully in smaller doses with the sugar because it's just kind of like a little bit of honey. When we use things that have menthol in them or uppers in them, like Sudafed, over and over again, that's when it gets kind of scary when we get obsessive about using them in doses. So menthol can come in our cough drops. Cough drops are great. If you are using cough drops, I highly recommend that you try to find ones that do not have menthol in them, that cooling sensation in the back of your throat, because again, that's just like Mucinex, it is a drying agent. So, what is the moral of my entire story when it comes to singer health during the 6 seasons? Make the wet things wet. Rehydrate the squishy bits and make sure that you are taking care of that vocal mechanism. When you strip the body of that mucus that is in the body and producing more of it, you have to replace that wetness somehow. If you can remember that and kind of figure that out with your routine and things that work for you, you should feel a lot better during allergy season and during our cold season this fall. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you'd like to see more content like this, please let me know in the comments below. See you later, guys.